I got the job at the Granger House Hotel 2 weeks after I ran out of money. My degree in biology had gotten me nowhere. 3 years in a lab, 1 funding cut, and a few ignored job applications later, I ended up crashing on Ava's couch in Jersey City. Most mornings, I ate dry cereal out of a coffee mug and pretended to scroll job listings while she got dressed for work. Ava was the one who dragged me out that night, said I needed to get some air, talk to real people. She was meeting up with her old sorority sisters at a rooftop bar downtown. I didn't know anyone and didn't feel like socializing, but I went anyway. Better than sitting around with no heat and pretending my life wasn't falling apart. That's where I met Eliza. She stood out from the others immediately. While everyone else was laughing, clinking glasses, shouting over the wind and music, Eliza stood silently at the edge of the group. Tall, pale, and calm. Platinum hair that shimmered like metal under the lights. While the others talked over one another, she just watched. I ended up beside her by accident, close enough that it would have been rude not to say something. "So what do you do?" I asked, making conversation. "I work at a hotel," she said quietly, her voice barely carried. "Oh yeah? Which one?" "The Granger House Hotel." "Never heard of it." "Most haven't," she replied. "It's not new, but it's exclusive. Old money types, we keep things quiet." She didn't elaborate, I didn't press. The conversation fizzled, and I forgot about it until 2 weeks later when my account hit 0. I'd burned through my last freelance gig, maxed my credit card, and even pawned the watch my brother gave me for graduation. No more options, no more pride, just desperation. That's when I remembered Eliza. I Googled Granger House Hotel. No official site came up, just a blurry photo of a stone building buried in an old forum post. I called directory assistance, got patched through to the hotel line, and fully expected to get disconnected. Instead, someone picked up immediately. "Granger House," a woman's voice said. "Please hold." Click. Then, Eliza speaking. I nearly dropped the phone. "Hey, it's Marla. From the bar? I was wondering if there were any jobs open. Anything, really." A long pause. "I will ask my manager," she said. "What's your address?" I gave it to her before I could think too hard about it. 2 days later, a man in a long black coat rang Ava's doorbell and handed me a red envelope. No name. No return address. Just a thick, sealed envelope that looked like it belonged in a period drama. Inside was a single typed letter: "Welcome to Granger House Hotel. Your employment has been approved. Your start date, Monday 6 p.m. Your position, Bell Service Division. Your uniform will be provided. Rules will be provided upon arrival." No interview. No paperwork. No explanation. Ava thought it was a scam. I knew better. The paper was thick like parchment. The ink smelled faintly metallic. There was something about it that felt old and heavy and real. That Monday, I took the train into Manhattan and walked 5 blocks to the address I'd jotted down. It led me to a narrow alley between a closed theater and an abandoned office building. That's where I saw it, a black iron gate, half covered in ivy, and behind it, a crooked Gothic structure that looked like it had been dragged out of 1880. Granger House. It was massive. Stone turrets, iron balconies, stained glass windows that flickered with orange light even in daylight. The brick was weathered and blackened in places like something had burned long ago. But the front steps were swept. The brass door handles gleamed. I stepped inside. The lobby was quiet, polished floors, high ceilings, a scent like old cedar and lilacs, dim lighting that cast long, strange shadows. "Eliza," I called, unsure where to go. She appeared in the hallway behind me, already in uniform. "Come with me." She led me down a corridor marked staff only, then handed me a new red envelope, thicker this time, sealed with wax. "Don't open it until you're alone in the break room," she said. Then she turned and walked away. I found the break room behind a rusted door past the laundry chute. It was small, just a dented table, some metal lockers, a chipped sink, and a single, overhead light that buzzed faintly. I sat down at the table, broke the wax seal, and unfolded the parchment. The ink was black and handwritten in elegant, looping strokes. "Staff Protocol. Bell Service Division. To be followed without exception." I read each line twice. My stomach turned. 1. Never ride the elevator alone after midnight. If you must move between floors, wait until another staff member joins you. If no one comes within 15 minutes, use the servant's stairwell instead. Walk silently and do not look behind you. 2. If piano music begins playing from the Ashevale Ballroom, do not investigate. The East Wing has been sealed since 1974. Ignore any music, voices, or movement from within. 3. If a young guest in outdated clothing asks for help, lead them silently to the front desk. Do not speak. Do not allow them to touch you. Avoid prolonged eye contact. 4. A supper tray marked for the hollow room may appear in the staff kitchen after dark. Deliver it immediately. Leave it on the floor outside the room. If the door is open, do not look inside. If it's closed, do not knock. 5. If you find the door to the keeper's quarters ajar, close it at once. Do not listen to the voice inside. Do not enter, no matter what it says. If you see movement within, run until you reach the lobby. Do not stop. 6. If the woman in the green dress speaks to you, do not respond. If she asks your name, say you've forgotten it. If she speaks your real name aloud, run, and do not stop running until daylight breaks. My fingers tightened around the paper. It had to be a prank, a ritual, some creepy initiation for the new hire. But there was nothing funny about it, just rules that read more like survival tips. I sat there for a long time, listening, thinking. Then I folded the paper and slipped it into my vest pocket. The air felt colder than before. The floor creaked once. Somewhere in the distance, a door shut by itself. And I knew. I didn't get hired at a normal hotel. This place was something else, and now I was part of it. The uniform fit perfectly, which was strange. I hadn't given Eliza my measurements. No one asked for my size, but when I opened the locker marked Marla, everything was waiting for me. Burgundy vest, white shirt, crisp and clean, black slacks, ironed sharp. Even the shoes were spotless. A black name tag was clipped to the vest, already engraved. The moment I put it on, I felt like I'd stepped into someone else's life. There were no instructions, no training video, just another folded card on the break room table with my schedule, a laminated floor plan, and 2 short words: begin now. So I did. For the first few hours, I ran trays from the staff kitchen to a few occupied rooms, dusted wall sconces that didn't seem dusty, and adjusted chairs that didn't look out of place. It felt like busy work, like I was being watched for something, but no one would say what. The halls were too quiet. The air felt dense, like it hadn't moved in years. There was no background music, no chatter from other staff. Just soft footsteps, mine, and the steady hum of the building holding its breath. I kept the red envelope in my vest pocket. The rules inside were folded neatly, just in case I needed to check them. I didn't plan on breaking a single one. And that first night, I didn't. But I got close. It was almost midnight when I finished returning a tray to the kitchen. I glanced at the time on the stove clock, 11:57 p.m. My last task was logged. I was supposed to head back to the lobby before clocking out. The service elevator was right around the corner. I hesitated at the gate, hand resting on the handle. Rule 1. Never ride the elevator alone after midnight. I wasn't sure what counted. After midnight meant 12 a.m. exactly, right? Technically, I had time. But the number flickered again, 11:59 p.m. I didn't wait. I backed away from the elevator and took the servant's stairwell instead, just like the rules said. The old wooden steps creaked under my weight. The railing was slightly warped and the wallpaper peeled inward at certain corners like it had been clawed. I walked silently, as instructed. I didn't look behind me, even though I felt something. Not a sound, not a shadow. Just a sense, like I wasn't walking alone. By the time I reached the lobby, my hands were shaking. I told myself it was nerves, first day jitters, an unfamiliar place and too much caffeine. But I kept glancing over my shoulder, and I didn't stop until I was back in the break room, door locked behind me. I opened the envelope again, read Rule 1 twice. I hadn't broken it, but I understood now. It wasn't there as a suggestion. The second rule came into play the next night. I was in the linen closet, counting towels. My cart was half-stocked, and I was debating whether to track down another stack or fudge the numbers when something shifted in the air. It started faint, a single note. Piano. Then another. A soft, elegant melody floated through the wall behind me, light and slow, like a ballroom waltz from another century. It echoed faintly off the floorboards and curved down the hallway like it was following me. I froze. Rule 2. If piano music begins playing from the Ashevale Ballroom, do not investigate. The East Wing was sealed. I hadn't seen a way in yet. The doors down that corridor were all chained shut, and one had a brass plaque that simply read, Ashvale. But the music kept playing. It was beautiful in a sad, hollow kind of way. And wrong. Wrong because it was playing. Wrong because no one should have been in there. I took one step toward the hall, just one. Then I stopped and backed away. I didn't run. I didn't speak. I didn't look through the frosted window as I passed the ballroom doors. I pushed my cart to the nearest service hall and didn't look back. Later, when I logged out for the night, I found another folded card left in the break room. This one didn't say begin now. It said simply, you followed the rules. Good. There was no name, no signature. I didn't sleep that night. Not really. I kept hearing that waltz in the back of my mind like the keys were still being pressed. Not by fingers, by something else. The Granger house wasn't just old, it wasn't just exclusive. It was alive. And if I wanted to keep this job, I needed to stay one step ahead of whatever was watching me. By the third night, I had a routine. Clock in, change into uniform, read the rules in the break room just once, like a ritual. Run trays, answer the brass intercom, stay away from the east wing, take the stairs, don't make eye contact with shadows. The strangest part was how normal it started to feel. No one explained anything. There was no manager, no front desk phone calls, no HR, just a schedule that updated itself each night and a list of rules that sounded less like superstition and more like physics. Like gravity. Break them, and something would happen. Something worse than getting fired. Eliza was always around, but not in a helpful way. She floated in and out of hallways without speaking, clipboard in hand, never breaking stride. Sometimes I'd find her already standing where I was heading, like she knew my route. She never smiled, never frowned either. Just watched. It was on the fourth night that everything started to shift. And it started with the boy. I had just finished cleaning the second floor corridor. It was past midnight, but I hadn't checked the time. I'd taken the stairs, like I was supposed to, and was heading back to the linen closet with an empty cart. That's when I saw him. He stood at the far end of the hall, near the service lift. Maybe 8 years old. Pale skin, brown knickers, suspenders, scuffed shoes, and a little red cap tilted to the side. He was crying, soft, breathy sobs. He wiped his face with one hand and clung to the wall with the other. I froze. Rule 3. If a young guest in outdated clothing asks for help, lead them silently to the front desk. Do not speak. Do not allow them to touch you. Avoid prolonged eye contact. I remembered the rule. I knew the rule. But in that moment, I didn't think of rules. I thought of my brother when we were kids. Lost at the county fair once, crying just like that. I thought of how scared I'd been when no one answered me. How my voice shook when I asked for help. The boy looked up, his face was streaked with tears. "Miss," he said softly, "I can't find my mother." Without thinking, I bent down slightly, trying to meet his eyes. "It's okay. What's your name?" He blinked at me. Then he smiled, not like a child, not even close. His mouth stretched too wide. His eyes, dark and still, stopped crying instantly. He didn't answer me, so I gave my name. "I'm Marla. I can help you, okay?" His smile deepened. His head tilted just a little too far to the left, like something was wrong with the bones in his neck. Then he turned and walked away. Not ran, not stumbled, just calmly walked around the corner and vanished into the shadows. I stood there, my pulse thudding in my ears. My hands were ice cold. Then the air shifted. It happened so subtly, I thought I imagined it. The walls felt longer. The hallway behind me, just a few feet, suddenly stretched back farther than it had before. The sconces flickered in unison, like they had blinked. And the temperature dropped. Not winter cold. Wrong cold. I wheeled the cart back to the linen closet and slammed the door. I stood there with my back against it, trying not to hyperventilate. You broke the rule. You spoke. You let him speak your name. The realization hit like a brick. I unfolded the rules again, my fingers shaking, reading Rule 3 until the words blurred. Do not speak. Do not allow them to touch you. Avoid prolonged eye contact. I had broken all of it. The rest of my shift passed in a haze. I didn't take the elevator. I didn't go near the ballroom. I didn't pass another soul. But the hotel didn't feel like it had the night before. It felt awake, like something had been notified, like it knew my name now. When I returned to the break room, there was no new message, no updated card, just silence. I changed out of my uniform and kept glancing at the corners of the room, expecting the boy to be waiting there. or something wearing his face. But he never came back. Not that night. I thought about quitting. I really did. I sat on the edge of the bunk in the upstairs staff dorm and held my phone in both hands, staring at my bank balance, trying to talk myself into leaving. But the heat worked. The bed was warm. The pay was better than anything I'd made before. And honestly, I didn't know where else to go. I told myself I'd just be more careful. I'd follow the rules exactly. I wouldn't forget again. And if the boy came back, I'd lead him to the front desk, silently, just like I was told. I didn't sleep much after the boy. Even when I closed my eyes, I still saw that smile, the way his face froze mid-sob, the way his head tilted just a little too far, like something had to snap before it bent that way. I told myself he wouldn't come back, that I'd followed the rule, eventually, that it still counted. But the hotel disagreed. It showed me by changing. The walls started creaking at the wrong times. The air smelled thicker, like burnt wax and spoiled sugar. The halls grew just long enough that I'd reached the end, feeling like I'd walked farther than I should have. Like the hotel was folding behind me, reshaping itself when I wasn't looking. And then, on my 5th night, something new appeared. It was already waiting for me when I stepped into the kitchen. A tray. Full silver service. Ceramic teapot. Covered plate. A cloth napkin neatly folded beside a white china bowl filled with what looked like a pale broth, still steaming despite the cold. Under the folded napkin was a small ivory card with 2 words, "The Hollow Room." I didn't need to check the rule. I remembered it. A supper tray marked for "The Hollow Room" may appear in the staff kitchen after dark. Deliver it immediately. Leave it on the floor outside the room. If the door is open, do not look inside. If it's closed, do not knock. I stood still for a full minute, just staring at it. The silver handles of the tray were ice cold to the touch. The steam rising from the food didn't seem to move right. It hovered in the air like smoke underwater. I carried it to the 4th floor, through the south hallway that no one ever used. The carpet here was older, mustier. There were fewer sconces, and none of the guest room doors had numbers. Only one had a name, "The Hollow Room," carved directly into the wood in thin, shaky script. I walked slowly. My hands trembled, but I didn't spill a drop. The tray felt heavier the closer I got. Then I saw it. The door, slightly open, just a sliver. The rule said to leave the tray on the floor. Do not look inside. If it's closed, do not knock. But this was neither. The door was open, and something inside moved. A single, silent shift, like someone adjusting their weight just out of sight. I froze. I told myself to bend down, just place the tray and walk away. That's it. But I didn't. I knocked. 3 quick taps. The moment my knuckles hit the wood, the door creaked wider. And I looked. Not on purpose, not all the way, but I looked. Inside, the lights were off. Just a dull glow leaking in from the hallway, casting enough reflection to show a shape, tall and wrong, standing in the far corner. It wore Eliza's face. But it wasn't Eliza. Too tall. Shoulders crooked. Arms too long. Fingers curled around the wall behind it like hooks. The face was pale and perfect, except for the smile. Too wide, too flat, like someone had stretched the corners with wire. And the eyes. Black, lidless, staring right at me. I dropped the tray. It shattered across the floor with a crash. The figure took 1 step forward. I ran. I didn't stop until I reached the break room. I slammed the door, locked it, and backed into the far corner. My breath came in sharp, panicked bursts, the kind you can't swallow back down. I waited. I didn't hear footsteps. No one followed, but I didn't feel alone. Later, I found another message waiting on the break room table. Just 1 line, written in the same script from before. You knocked, you looked, don't do it again. There was no signature, just a warning. I didn't see Eliza that night, not until the very end of the shift, when I passed the front desk on my way upstairs. She was there, standing still, watching the lobby clock tick towards 6. Her hands rested flat on the counter. Her expression was blank, but her eyes tracked me. She didn't speak. I didn't stop. But I couldn't help noticing something I hadn't before. Her hands. There were too many fingers. After the Hollow Room, the hotel got meaner. Not louder, not busier. Just meaner. The lights flickered more often. The doors creaked when I wasn't near them. The floorboards popped behind me when I knew no one else was on my floor. I stopped asking questions. I stopped trying to explain things to myself. I just followed the rules. Strictly. Precisely. When I heard soft piano notes echo from the Ashevale ballroom 2 nights later, I didn't even turn my head. I walked past the hallway without blinking, breathing through my mouth so I wouldn't smell whatever memory was drifting out from under the sealed doors. I stopped using the elevator entirely, even before midnight. I took the servants' stairwell up and down, 1 floor at a time, never rushing, never looking behind me. The boy hadn't come back, but I still felt him in certain halls. That small, cold presence just out of view. When I passed the linen closet, I started muttering to myself, "Don't speak, don't look, don't say your name." It helped, a little. Then, a few nights after the hollow room, I found the keeper's quarters open. It was during rounds. I was on the 3rd floor, checking that the guests' dinner trays had been retrieved, when I passed a heavy wooden door I hadn't noticed before. Brass handle, reinforced frame. It looked like it had been sealed for a long time. One of those rooms that collected dust but never got assigned, but this time, it was open. Just a few inches. And inside, something breathed. Rule 5. If you find the door to the keeper's quarters ajar, close it at once. Do not listen to the voice inside. Do not enter, no matter what it says. If you see movement within, run until you reach the lobby. Do not stop. I stood there for a second, heart pounding. That's when I heard it. Marla. A voice. Weak, familiar. I froze. "Marla," it said again. "Sweetheart, I need you." It was my mother's voice. Not just similar, not just close. Exactly the same. The rasp in her throat when she had the flu. The way she used to say my name when I was sick. My knees nearly buckled. "I'm hurt," she whispered. "I can't move. Please, baby, just help me." It sounded like she was lying on the floor inside the room, just behind the crack in the door, just out of view. My hand twitched toward the handle. My mother died 6 years ago. I remembered that. I remembered the hospital. The last time I saw her. The weight of the blanket pulled up to her chest, her hand in mine. She couldn't be in that room, but the voice kept talking. "Marla, please, don't leave me here." I took a step forward. Then I remembered the rule. Do not listen. Do not enter. If you see movement within, run. Something shifted in the dark. I slammed the door shut with both hands, using my full weight. It fought me. The air pushed back like someone pressing against the other side. I didn't wait. I ran. I didn't look behind me. I didn't slow down when the lights above me buzzed and popped. I didn't stop when I heard my mother's voice screaming behind me, begging, wailing like a child. I ran until I hit the lobby. And then I kept running until I reached the front desk, where Eliza was waiting. She was already standing there when I stumbled into the light. Her hands rested on the counter. Her eyes were calm. "You heard it," she said softly. I nodded, breathless. "You closed the door?" I nodded again. She looked down at her clipboard, then slid it across the counter toward me. "Sign." My name was already written in faint pencil at the bottom. All I had to do was trace over it in ink. "If you want to stay," she added. I hesitated, then picked up the pen and signed. Afterward, she didn't say anything else. She just nodded, took the clipboard back, and walked into the shadows behind the front desk. I stood there for a long time. I wasn't shaking anymore. Not because I wasn't afraid, but because it felt like the hotel had made its choice. I followed the rules. I'd proven I could. But deep down, I knew something had changed. Because when I turned to take the servant's stairwell to the dorm upstairs, the air behind me shifted, and the voice whispered one last time, "Next time, it will sound like someone you haven't lost yet." 3 weeks. That's how long I've been here. Long enough that I don't check the rules anymore. I know them by heart. They aren't reminders now. They're instinct. Like breathing, like flinching when something moves where it shouldn't. I don't take the elevator, not even during the day. I use the servant's stairwell, step by step, head down, hands steady. I don't glance at the ballroom doors, even when the music swells so loud it echoes down the hall like someone's dancing behind me. I keep walking. The boy hasn't come back. But every time I pass the linen closet, I feel the air get cold and still. Sometimes I catch movement in my peripheral vision. I don't look. I don't speak. The supper trays come more often now. Always steaming, always delivered to the hollow room. I follow the rule. I don't knock. I don't speak. If the door's open, I don't look. Not again. The thing with Eliza's face never returned, but the hollow room's door is always warm when I set the tray down, like someone is standing just on the other side, breathing against the wood. I never wait to find out. The keeper's quarters haven't opened since I shut the door, but sometimes I hear shuffling from behind it as I pass, and soft voices. My father, my brother, people I haven't lost yet. I don't stop walking. The woman in the green dress came last week. I was finishing my shift, almost dawn. I rounded the corner to the main staircase and there she was, standing at the top, backlit by the chandelier above her. The dress was long, flowing, the exact shade of dying leaves. Her hair hung in dark waves. Her eyes, I don't know how to describe them, deep, knowing, like she'd seen everything I'd ever done and was still deciding what it meant. Marla, she said, soft, almost sweet. I froze. My lungs stopped working. She took one step down. Do you remember your name? She asked. I swallowed. I looked her in the eye and I said no. Her head tilted. Her mouth opened. And then I turned and ran. Not down the hall, not toward the kitchen or the stairwell or the dorms. I ran straight to the front desk. Eliza was waiting. She didn't say anything. She didn't need to. She just opened the staff logbook and handed me the pen. I signed. Again, I don't think I'm allowed to quit anymore. But I don't mind. The pay is good. Better than anything I've had before. There's food in the staff kitchen, a room upstairs with a bed that stays warm. No one bothers me as long as I do my job. Eliza still doesn't talk much, but I see her sometimes, standing outside the hollow room after I've made the delivery, just watching the door. Sometimes I think about asking who she really is, but I never do. Sometimes I hear my name from inside the keeper's quarters, whispered in voices I still remember, but I never stop. Sometimes I see the woman in green waiting at the top of the stairs, smiling faintly, but I never answer her. Not anymore.